10 plus PPP loan alternatives 2022, where you can get up to 50 million plus fast without having a good credit score, even as low as 450, even if you've never received funding before. Hi, this is Michael from Viral Funding Solutions, and I'm going to go thoroughly through each of these options you have on the table for you. I know this video might be coming a little later since the PPP has been shut down. There's no more draws coming out. Maybe you didn't get one, or you couldn't go through the second draw, or however you see it, you're here wanting a different solution. But before I get started, if this is the first time you're watching me, I do come out with videos like this on all small business loans, PPP loans, grants, SBA, EIDL, all SBA loans, cash advances, building business credits, taking advantage of many different opportunities online. So if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so and click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I come out with. Let's get right into this. You're looking at the screen and I'm going to reveal these options one by one and go through them thoroughly. Now, unlike some other people who release videos on YouTube and they say, hey, this is a PPP loan alternative, and they just show you grants and they go through a whole list of them because maybe that's what people are looking for. But the thing is, I'll show you that and more. But the problem is they're always changing. They're hard to get at times. There's always a new one coming up. But if you would like to learn more about that, I'll have a document down below you can pick up to see all the grants that are relevant to today's time. Now let's get down to business. Number one, we're going to lead off here with grants. As I've already been saying, there are so many funding opportunities in your state, in your county, in this country. Now, one of the best ways to find grants is just going to grants.gov, doing a thorough research within your communities to see what is available and taking it from there. And I know there are some that are outside of your community, and there are many opportunities for you to take advantage of. That's why I have this document that I'm going to leave for you down below in the description. So make sure you pick this up for free. It's going to keep you up to date. It says for 2022 now, but that could change in time to 2023 and so forth. Now, another option we have is the employee retention credit. This is the quote unquote alternative to PPP. So many people have been talking about, it's been buzzing. I created a separate video for this. I'll leave down below in the description, but this is what you will come to. COVID-19 has been a challenge for all of us. And I know the feeling of going through these hardships, even outside of COVID, even before, even just after, even things when they calm down, trying to pick up our business, trying to continue to strive, build, grow, expand, and even get out of a tight pinch. So as this world of ours is shutting down, the economy has come down to a halt. You're seeing inflation, you're seeing a lot of different variety going on. So it's leaving the future of many businesses in a precarious position. So as we begin to find normalcy again, and we flip back and forth with it, businesses now have to focus on recovering. And fortunately, several government programs are easing in this process. One of these is the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC for short, which is a generous stimulus program designed to bolster those businesses that were able to retain their employees during this challenging time. So due to the extremely complex tax code and qualifications, it has been underutilized. And this is why the PPP monstrously was over on top of it. And this is why you didn't hear about it much, because of some of the regulations, some of the things happening inside, why it was hard to get. And so you can get up to $26,000 per employee, and there will be a little bit more information on that down below. So make sure to check that out. I can't go through it as thoroughly in just one video, but that's an alternative to PPP if you qualify for it. Number three, we have the SBA 7A and the SBA 504 CDC loans. Listen, the SBA EIDL, as of me making this video, there's no more funds being pumped out to people submitting a new application. There's people going through the reconsideration stages, the appeals, and I've been getting comments time and time again on where to go, how to get started. So make sure you look out for SBA EIDL content down below in the description that I'll leave for you through getting a free reconsideration letter template, the COVID grant EIDL targeted advance, what's going on, the alternatives to the SBA EIDL, which you are going to see similarly what I'm speaking about in these top 10 plus lists. So these are congruent in a way with one another. So make sure to check that out. But you have the SBA 7A that you can use for many different purposes, just as working capital for equipment and for many other reasons. The SBA 504, commercial real estate lending and different purposes that you may want to use it for. SBA 7As, you'd want to use it a lot more for equipment as maybe opposed to an SBA 504. But I won't go too specific into what they entail, the qualifications for each of those programs. I've left a separate video down below, but these are amazing ones that I recommend outside of the SBA EIDL. So if you couldn't get that, or if you're currently waiting, but you may be qualified for an SBA 7A or an SBA 504/CDC type of program, then make sure you check those out. You can get a lot of funding with those combined. You can get up to about 5 million, I believe it still is, with the SBA 7A, and 10 million for the SBA 504, so 15 million altogether when you combine just those two programs alone. Now, another one, we have SBA microloans. This is a great one. And if you're in the startup phase, maybe you're in that growth and expansion and you want just a little bit of a lump sum of cash. Most of the time, these programs can give you up to 50,000, and they work a little bit differently than the SBA loans. But you have programs out here like Acción, Kiva, Opportunity Fund, and then Lift Fund. With these types of programs, you can get a fixed amount given to you. Usually, again, it's up to 50,000. A lot of the times you'll see some type of a higher interest rates because of that type of funding you're getting. But listen, if you're on the fence because somebody's telling you you're getting a higher interest rate, or you're getting shorter term, you're getting not these monthly payments that you wished for, instead you're getting maybe these daily/weekly/biweekly, the reason that is because you just don't have the qualifications, you don't have the requirements, you don't have what is pleasing as a part of our criteria for the underwriters, for the lenders, for myself to look through, for my team and I to see, because I have so many people. Keep an open mind that if, for example, if you're requesting about 50,000, let's say you want 50,000 in funding for maybe some type of equipment, saying you wanted to lump sum of it because you're in that expansion mode. So maybe I want to lump sum of it. And you're thinking, I want a monthly term with at least 2 to 5 years, and I don't want a high interest rate. I only want to like 3 to 5%. And the thing is, we're not talking an SBA loan. We're talking about private lenders, potentially even fintech. And the thing is, when you come into this world, you're taking a high risk. The lenders are taking a high risk. They're not sure you're going to get them their money back. If you don't have any history, it's even harder for them to determine that. If you've never received funding online and you're like, I want these monthly terms, but you don't have the time in business, you don't have the FICO/business credit scores, you don't have the amount of revenue, maybe your background doesn't check out, maybe you have delinquencies, maybe you have non-sufficient funds, negative bank days, and the list goes on and on. So even if you say you're doing strong revenue and you believe you should be getting, maybe if you're doing 50K, you're like, I want 80K, but you had a dip in revenue of cash flow and your amount of deposits, and you're like doing 30K in the last month, and then you had like a 20K, but then you had like all of a sudden a 50K month, we cannot give you everything you ask for. And a lot of the times this can be higher interest. This is just how it works. Don't depend. And this is why I don't give a lot of credit to the SBA loans, because it's programmed us to think just because they can give you a shorter interest rate and they can give you these monthly longer terms, everybody wants that. And it's not always the case. If you don't qualify for it, it doesn't mean the other options are not good. They're great. They're actually excellent. It's just, does the benefit exceed the repayment? And if it doesn't, you'll never take it. It doesn't make sense to you. And if you're just trying to survive and thrive, some of those options may not be the best fit for you. But I'll continuously show you here. So you have these SBA loans, Acción, Kiva, Opportunity Fund, Lift Fund, as I just said. Number 5, you have business term loans. And this is what I'm talking about, where people want these monthly terms with maybe like 5 to 10 years, right? We want all these months dragged out over time. And those present opportunity, those present problems as well. Like if you get those, yeah, you might have to supply more financials, income balance statements, and you might have to go a little bit more in depth with your taxes and how much they require of that, you know, these P&Ls, profit and loss, and just these extensive bank statements to go through. But nonetheless, if it's the best thing for you to do, then you can go for it. And there's a certain category of, you know, if I wanted 500,000 to 750,000, how and what are they going to request from me? But I won't talk about it here. I may link that down below in the description. If it isn't ready, it'll be there in time. Just be aware of that in different categories, we require different types of documentations. So if it's below like 100K, we might not ask for taxes. We may not ask for any kind of collateral. If it's unsecured business term loans, then for the most part, we don't need that. collateral, or it's a lot of soft credit checks is what we do for the most part. And if necessary, later on in the process, we can do a hard credit pull. So there are these short, medium, and long. Short can be like 3 to 18, maybe 4 to 24 months is what I would say, but that's even pushing it a little bit more. When we say 24 months, that kind of puts it in the medium category. So from medium can be like 2 to 5 maybe, and then long can be like 5 to 10 years. But just because they show you these doesn't mean it's best. And also because if you do qualify and you do take it, the interest can add on over time and over years, and you're still paying it off when you don't even need it anymore. You're like, I've completed my projects, this huge lump sum that I received. I completed my project, but I'm still paying these higher interest monthly payments, and maybe something happens in the business where you're going on the downfall. But you have companies out there like Go Capital is a great solution, and I'll link to them down below in the description. But this is them right here. You can get business loans, real estate financing. It's kind of like this all-in-one, and they specialize and do very well with just about every industry. But you can get anything from merchant cash advances all the way down here, which I'll cover some of those in the PPP loan alternatives. But you have these unsecured business term loans, and I'm not going to get into it in depth into this video, but you can get a good amount of time on this. If you're looking for longer years, these monthly payments, ACH, and then this other stuff that's included with it. But again, I won't go through the qualifications. I've left a separate video for unsecured business term loans from Go Capital. Look down below in the description to view more about that. You also have other ones like On Deck that potentially can give you more. A lot of the times they work with shorter. Shorter is also an excellent solution. Don't think because they're short is not a great one. You also have to think about, if I only want 25,000 and I'm asking for a 2 to 5 year or a 1 to 5 year payback, and maybe you don't have the exact revenue, you don't have that exact time in business, maybe the industry doesn't permit that and the state you're in, and these little things that amount to that, it wouldn't make sense to do a longer term. Because if you want a longer term, for a lot of these cases, you're getting a huge lump sum. And with that lump sum, you're going to use it for bigger projects, for like some debt consolidation. You're going to use it to purchase a bigger piece of equipment. Maybe you need some bigger piece of real estate. So it depends on that lump sum. So if you're asking for a lot more, it's generally what I recommend is going for these longer terms. But again, we have to look through the requirements and see if it's even worth doing it. David Allen Capital Inc., another amazing solution here. One of my very favorite and number one recommended places to come to. They are a hybrid merchant cash advance. If you haven't heard of that, and I'll get into it shortly, it's where you're given this lump sum of capital, and in exchange, you're expected to pay it back in a shorter amount of time. We can do from 4 to 6 months, or we can do 4 to 24 months, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But again, this will be down below in the description, so view that separate video and have multiple ones on them and where you can go and apply. But no interest rates, no collateral, and no hard credit checks. Yeah, that's right. We calculate on total payback, funds deposited within 1 to 2 days, as much as a week, approval within a day, depending on your file and what we have to go through. But we take into account your cash flow, the amount of deposits coming into the accounts, what types of transactions, how big of a withdrawals are you making, your overall revenue, checks, and all this stuff, which is so much of what you see in revenue-based funding. So they even have an up to 25K today program with their bank Breezy instant approval, where you can get up to 25K with just 5,000 plus monthly bank revenue, and within the last 3 months, have a business checking account, have 6+ months in business, at 450 FICO credit score. Not a business, but FICO personal credit score. All industries are included. This is what you are going to see with among all types of alternative lending business / cash advances online, is they require a lot of these personal FICO scores. I have content on this, how to get a business loan with a personal credit score, link down below, how to get a business loan without a personal credit score, maybe even without a personal guarantee. So I have all that content already covered, so make sure to view that. But David Allen Capital, one of the great ones to go for. I recommend them if you're going for that merchant cash advance, which I'll explain in a little bit. But there's other companies out there like Funding Circle, for a financial, that's there. And then you have On Deck. We work with On Deck as well. So with David Allen Capital, that's one of their lenders. And so I highly recommend going through David Allen Capital, because you get a lot of, or like these early pay discounts, you get a lot of leverage, even, all these discounts in place, and the rates can be far more in your favor. So I highly recommend Business lines of credits. You have Go Capital, Blue Vine, and then Fundbox. Let me shortly talk about what they are, but I'll leave a link to my video content on these down below that go through them thoroughly, my 7+ recommended ones for them. But this is where you don't, instead of getting a lump sum like you would with like these business term loans and these cash advances, you're given, let's say you get approved for 100,000 and you don't want to use all of that. So in one season, maybe you only want 10K. So you only withdraw 10K of that 100K and you use it for what you need it. And you only pay interest on that 10K, not the full 100. So you don't pay it all back at once. And that's an advantage. Usually it's a short time period. It can be like 4 to 6 months, up to like 12 months or so. But that's what you would expect to see. They can be higher interest, so similar to what you would see with business term loans, whether they were that or a cash advance type of company. But again, like I said, disregard the interest. I get that has something to do with it, and it may have a lot to do with it if it's your business. Each person has their own criteria, so it's subjective. So if your business is doing better, it's more healthier, it's on an incline, it's going up, or it's stable, then it doesn't always matter if you get these higher interest rates or these types of payments, and they won't hurt your cash flow. But a business line of credit can be used for just anything you can with a business term loan / cash advance, like I just explained. It may be best for you if you have insufficient cash flow, you're suffering with it as it is right now, or you predict it will feel like that, maybe because your revenue is not stable, maybe you don't have enough revenue, something's happening. So it could help better than these lump sums that you're given. And that seems to be a lot of the case with people, is like, if I'm giving a lump sum, if I'm taking a daily payment, it'll hurt my cash flow. But again, not everybody is the same. And it doesn't mean that somebody who is doing better is going to hurt their cash flow as opposed to somebody else who's just trying to survive. It looks like that person, it may impact their cash flow even more. It just might hurt them the most. So again, it's each to their own. Doesn't necessarily mean because it's daily / weekly that it's bad. No, that's an amazing solution. And that's a lot of the times what people will qualify for. And we never give you something that you won't be able to pay back, right? So we have these types of companies in there. I've done separate video content on this. Make sure to look for it down below. Number 7, we have business credit cards. I'm sure you're aware of this, that if you qualify for good credit cards with bad credit scores or higher credit limits, how you can use them to get funding. You can even get access to over 250,000 in business credit funding alone without having to use your social security number or having it tied to your personal credit score. And if you would like help understanding how to get access to business credit cards the right way, in the form of, first, let's build your business credit from the foundation up so you can get through these trade lines and apply for these credit cards that you will actually get and start reporting to the credit bureaus, like one of them being done in Bradstreet. I have a free video series for you to pick up down below in the description, so make sure to check that out for building business credits. Number 8, we have invoice financing, where you have these invoice factoring companies who buy those customer receipts, right? And they give you a lump sum for that time being. That's another solution you can take. One of these companies that can offer that is Blue Vine, and there are many of them out there, but I'll leave more content for that. Merchant cash advances. So this is what I was talking about in our section with the business term loans. So you have where you're getting a lump sum. Usually there are shorter terms, and you're getting a lump sum or an advance based on your credit card transactions within your business. So if your business does take credit card transactions, great. It doesn't always have to be the case, but that's for the most part. There's these hybrid companies, which I'm going to show you in a moment. But you are taking away a future percentage of your credit card receivables and even your debit card sales. When you, let's say, for example, one day you have a low or you have a low month or you have a low day, you'll only be taking out a small percentage of your sales that day. But then you have a bigger sales day and you're taking out maybe a bigger amount. So it could be like 10 to 20 to 30+%. And so that's what it's going against. And these are great, fast ways to get funding. They're reliable, they're great, and they do carry a higher interest, like a lot of these options I'm going through. But again, this is what you're going to see in alternative lending. You got to look at it. Does the benefit exceed the repayment? And you got to understand where your business is at right now and where it's flowing, where it's moving to. But a great one that I recommend, they are not a traditional merchant cash advance where we're taking a future percentage of your credit card receivable. So it's not fluctuating. So you know what you're getting taken out of your account on a daily/weekly basis, as opposed to one time you maybe have a huge amount of sales and then you're taking out a huge lump sum where you can't make the payment at the end of the month when it all comes down to it. David Allen Capital is the one to go to. Like I said, you can get up to 2 million incredibly fast, or you can even get up to 25,000 same day, instant approval. They do customer financing, payment processing, and a lot more. So it's a hybrid of a merchant cash advance. We have great lenders, and this gives you a lot more flexibility. It's generally 50% less expensive than just about every other option you see out there, even with business term loans when we would compare the two, and with traditional merchant cash advances. But for a traditional MCA, somebody like Go Capital is a great one to go to. And there are certain requirements to this company that I won't talk about in this specific video. I've left that for the other ones down below in the description, so make sure you view that. But David Allen Capital, business term loans, yeah, you might be able to qualify for longer terms, but it doesn't make sense. But one of my favorite ones is David Allen Capital, so make sure to check them out down below in the description. Venture capital and angel investments, they can fund these startups, businesses in expansion. You have companies like Funders Club, Micro Ventures, Gus, Circle Up, Angel Capital Association. Crowdfunding, I'm sure you've heard of this. Maybe you've gone through it yourself, or you've neglected to go through it since you're maybe looking for grants or other opportunities, but you have programs out there like Kickstarter, and you can get these individuals, these organizations to fund your business, and just you appear in front of the internet. There's companies like Kickstarter where you can say you're trying to meet a goal and get there, and that's one way of doing it. You have fintech funding, where these companies have a lot of data, and then they can look through all of this. Similarly, it's what you're seeing with like these business term loans and these types of revenue-based funding styles. And through the blockchain, it's somewhat similar. They can have a higher interest. Usually they can be short-term, but that's what you would expect, and that's a great option as well. Peer-to-peer lending, that's another one to look for when you're dealing with individuals who can help you get the type of lending that you are looking for. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And then number 14 here, we have self-funding. It's a no-brainer. Maybe you've thought about it, and maybe you've gone through your own savings account, and maybe it's depleted, or maybe you just don't want to withdraw because you want to save that for a rainy day, or you want to go on vacation, you want to pay for your kids' college tuition one day. But these are your 10 plus, where we just saw 14, and these are just the like greatest ones to go for. And again, I've made also a separate video on SBA EIDL alternatives that's similar to this, so make sure you view that down below in the description. Hopefully the PPP loan opens up in the near future at any time. That would be great. But like I said, I'm going to go through this list just very quickly, just so you view it. We went through the grants, and I showed you how you can pick up a document down below in the description. The employee retention credit opportunity, the alternative to the PPP that's been getting a lot of buzz at the time of me making this video. The SBA 7A, the SBA 504 CDC loans. What are the qualifications? What can you use them for? And I didn't go through it so specifically, but I have different videos and content for that. Look for it down below in the description. SBA microloans for startups, for people in the growth or expansion who want a limited amount, usually up to 50,000. I won't go in through the logistics on how that all works, but I have reviews on these companies you can view down below in the description. Business term loans, short, medium, and long. And I could have made a whole separate video on this, on how you can expect to get these bigger amounts with longer terms, monthly payments, not perhaps lower interest, because usually these take on like a medium to higher interest rate, but the different categories, what your expectations are, how you should bring down your standard a little bit. And I've done a separate video on this with daily, weekly, biweekly, and monthly payments. Look down below in the description to learn more. But you have companies out there like Go Capital, David Allen Capital, one of my #1 recommended places to go to. Look for that down below in the description so you can get your fast funding. Business line of credit program, not to get a lump sum, but you want to take a little bit out each time. Maybe if you have insufficient cash flow, it's not in its place, or you're predicting something won't happen. Maybe you need emergency funds, but you don't need it right this second. Maybe you just need it for any type of working capital, but you're going to continuously want, then there might be a way to go. You have business credit cards, building business credit. That's what I put here. I wanted to put under A. And if you haven't checked out how to do this appropriately, look down below in the description for a free video series. Invoice financing, how that can help you. Merchant cash advances, how in the section with business term loans, and that's a great solution for venture capital and angel investment. You have crowdfunding, fintech funding, peer-to-peer lending, and then self-funding. And then there could have been some more added, but this is just a big list of the best ones to expect. Now, with that being said, I'm going to leave you with one final thing. And also, before you see this, let me know in the comment section down below what you need help with. Have you gone a PPP loan? What's going on is with the SBA EIDL? Maybe you're looking for something else. But in the meantime, this right here is a fast funding form for you to submit to get a hold of me. I'll leave this down below in the description, but I overemphasize this a lot. If I can't get right to you in a quick messenger chat, maybe it's not a phone call, I can't send you a text, maybe it's not a quick email, but what you can do is submit this funding form so I get to see and evaluate and analyze what can you get funding for? What are your option or options? So it's stuff like your name, your email, phone number. I put that there as a very important piece, not to quote unquote heckle you, or I don't want to hustle or do anything like that. I want to be as appropriate as I can. And for those of you who've been following me, know that and gotten a lot of help submitting this, who've received fast funding and a faster response. This is just for me to say, hey, I've sent you an email, and if necessary, I can send you a text just following up to make sure you look out for that email. And if it warrants that we get on a call, if it's necessary, we can. Funding amount requesting, your FICO credit score, your time in business, years or months, please specify monthly sales, last month's amount. It's important that I ask for that because I need to evaluate and see, okay, what's your funding amount that you want versus what you're doing in revenue. And the credit score, it won't impact anything. It's just confidential between you and I. No one else will see it. Use of funds, any additional notes you'd like to share, and so forth. And it might look like this more or less. So that'll be down below in the description. And then one last piece before I get you going. I know you're like, this guy's just trying to get me to sign up for things. I also have this free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist that'll show you thoroughly step-by-step what you must know before you walk into an application, and you know with 110% confidence and certainty that you will get approved without wasting days, weeks, months, and even years of sifting through information that might not be credible. It was useful years, maybe months ago, and it's just maybe a scam type of thing. If you don't want to go through all those problems, this is there for you. Highly recommend you pick this up down below in the description. So that'll conclude everything in this video. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of this. If you feel like you enjoyed this and it was helpful to you, please give it a like. Share this with others that you believe need this type of help. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And also click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with. Thank you. Bye.